nation. Hebrew kingdom building.
All right, let's start with verse 1. Shemot chapter 2, verse 1.
Come. Shemot chapter 2, verse 1. And the man of the house of Levi went and took as wife a daughter of Levi. So the woman conceived and bore a son. And when she saw that he was a beautiful child, she hid him 3 months. But when she could no longer hide him, she took an ark of bulrushes for him, daubed it with asphalt and pitch, put the child in it, and laid it in the reeds by the river's bank.
Man, this was a very this was a very, what's the word I'm looking for?
Symbolic.
I can't think of the word I'm looking for, but this is a mom that was really able to know how to really use her resources. She was a very, I can't think of the word I'm looking for. Resourceful, Toda. Very resourceful mother. Keep going, verse 4.
Verse 4. And his sister stood afar off to know what would be done to him. Then the daughter of Pharaoh came down to bathe at the river, and her maidens walked alongside the riverside. And when she saw the ark among the reeds, she sent her maid to go get it. And when she opened it, she saw the child, and behold, the baby wept. So she had compassion on him and said, "This is one of the Hebrews' children." Then his sister said to Pharaoh's daughter, "Shall I go and call a nurse for you from the Hebrew women, that she may nurse the child for you?"
So basically, this child made it on the ark. This is a time when all of a sudden there was an onslaught on the children. If y'all read chapter 1, that's what it was about. There was an onslaught on all the children. Well, any Israelite male that was born, they were supposed to be thrown in the Nile River. And it's interesting, y'all, because the Nile River was the center of the economy of Egypt. That was the centerpiece of the economy of Egypt. And Pharaoh decided to have innocent blood spilled in the center of where their economy surrounds around. That was smart, huh? The most craziest, dumbest thing you can do. Tons of innocent blood being spilled, literally in the centerpiece of where they get all their sustenance from, everything from. So Moshe was being. He had a mother who was very resourceful. She was very through. She was very strong. Very strong. Number one, in the last chapter, there was a situation where you had these Hebrew midwives who decided not to heed the Pharaoh who said to throw all the sons in the river, and they didn't do it. They couldn't do it because they said they feared the lure more than Pharaoh. Basically, it didn't say it in the text, but basically what you could surmise is that they was like, we're not going to offend Yahuwah. He just going to have to, it's better to perish than to offend the Yahuwah. You know what I'm saying? So we just not going to do it. And what happened was Yahuwah blessed them for that and prospered them for that. But this is the thing. Moshe was probably in that number. We never thought about that. Why did the scriptures mention that? About the Hebrew midwives sparing all these Israelite children. Moshe had to have been in that number. Otherwise, how was Moshe still alive at 3 months?
Right.
Remember, it wasn't the mamas who had to throw the babies in the river. The mamas didn't have no control. Pharaoh had midwives that he hired who were supposed to go and do that. He had midwives he set up to handle business. You see what I'm saying? Basically, which was all the midwives probably. And so, yeah, Moshe had one of the midwives who said, forget what Pharaoh talking about. Who delivered him. And so now his mama has the son, but she knows that Pharaoh got a decree to take out all the sons, so she hid them. But then Pharaoh had got more aggressive because once he found out that the midwife saved all them children, now they're going in houses. Now it's an onslaught. So once he was too old for her to hide, This is how, man, this is a strong mom, man. She literally did like Noah and built the ark for him.
Yeah.
He daubed it with pitch and asphalt and did all that, just like Noah. And made a little baby ark for Moshe. He 3 months old. Most High must have gave her a vision or something. What made her think of doing that? Most High must have visited her. Same thing, similar thing happened to Yahusha. When Yahusha was young, Most High visited her, his dad, Yosef. It was like, hey man, it's an onslaught of the children, man. Yahusha, you gotta do something. Go to Mitzrayim. The scripture said Yosef fled to Mitzrayim, to Egypt, because he had received a dream. So he fled before the onslaught even happened. And Yahusha stayed in Mitzrayim for a long time until Herod died. The same thing with Moshe. If y'all read the Torah portion, y'all know that Moshe ended up, well, that's a different, I'm thinking something different. Never mind. I'm mixing two scenes together. But when Moshe fled Mitzrayim, because Pharaoh actually went after to kill him again after he was grown. Moshe, man, he went through a lot, man. So when he was born, the Pharaoh at that time, the Pharaoh was trying to kill him when he was born. Then once he grows up, he made it through that. Ended up being growing up under the Pharaoh's house, but then he did something crazy. He couldn't help it. It was the zeal of the Levites came up on him. The zeal of the Ruach came up on him. He couldn't help it when he saw the Egyptian beating down the Israelite. And he killed the dude. And so now Pharaoh was after to kill him again. I wonder if that was the same Pharaoh. What if that was the same Pharaoh, y'all?
That's crazy.
For real. Same Pharaoh probably didn't even know. Man, it's that same dude that I spared last time because my niece and them and my daughters and them was like, no, we want to keep him. Can we keep him? Can we keep him? All right. Pharaoh was probably like, man, if I take him out, man, that's going to destroy my daughters and stuff. Because the scripture says she had compassion on him when he started crying. It's easy to dehumanize people when you don't got to look at them. That's different. When you don't got to look at them, when you in your palace chilling, it's easy to just send the soldiers down to handle that. But it's another story when you got the baby right there crying and looking you in your eyes. And scripture say you had compassion on him. And so Pharaoh was like, man, all right, you can, yeah, all right. We'll keep this one. Then 40 years later, he going back here. He's going after him again to kill him again. Wonder if it was the same Pharaoh. He'd be like, man, I spared you before. It's interesting the way Yahuwah is, man. It's like the one baby that was spared is the one that rose up to destroy the Egyptians. Right. Man, it's wild, man. Man, it's amazing. All right. Let's keep reading. Verse 7, I believe.
Con. Exodus chapter 2, verse 7. Then his sister said to Pharaoh's daughter, shall I go and call a nurse for you from the Hebrew women, that she may nurse the child for you? And Pharaoh's daughter said to her, go. So the maiden went and called the child's mother. Then Pharaoh's daughter said to her, take this child away and nurse him for me, and I will give you your wages. So the woman took the child and nursed him. And the child grew, and she brought him to Pharaoh's daughter, and he became her son.
See?
So
that was Pharaoh's daughter took him in. Man, Pharaoh wasn't going to turn that. Pharaoh wasn't going to be like that. His daughter like, get dad, can we keep him? Pharaoh probably looking at him like a dog. For real, that's how the other nations looked at us, for real. It's like if you're, like I used to be, when I was young, I was like that. I used to really like animals and stuff. I'm the one who would come home with like a frog or something. I'd be like, Mom, I'm trying to keep it. A big old frog, hands dirty, that thing keep peeing and everything. That's what they. Oh, y'all don't. Y'all ain't used to pick up frogs. Ah, That's what they do. They gonna keep peeing because that's their like defense mechanism. Nah, that's not true. I ain't never got no warts over that. Thing pee all over your hand. Mom, I'm trying to keep it. Well, if you don't get that thing out this house, get that thing up out this house. And I remember a couple of times I tried to keep the frog and it didn't survive more than a few days. So I didn't know how to take care of it right. And but I was always like that, man. I had a fish tank, and yeah, the fish from the fish store, that's cool. Nah, I was going to the creek with a little net, getting the crawfish. Yeah. Put them in the fish tank and see what happens. It'd be all out war up in there. I was like, man, that didn't work. They didn't mix well. But that's probably how they was like, man. How can we keep them? Pharaoh like, all right. Because remember, the Israelites was an abomination to the Mitzrites. Right. They're an abomination to the Egyptians, man. The Israelites consisted of shepherds. The Israelites consisted of shepherds and herdsmen. And you know what the Israelites did? They killed and ate sheep and bulls. They killed and ate goats. Those from the islands. They killed and ate goats. That's what Israelites did. And the Egyptians worshiped those types of animals. They worshiped the bull. So they looked at that as an extreme abomination to kill and eat like a cow or a bull. Y'all still see remnants of that, and still some Hinduism is based off of that. That's all. Y'all know that stuff ain't come from India, man. That's ancient African, Egyptian, Babylonian beliefs. That's what all that stuff with the cow worship like they do in India and stuff like that. That came from, man, Mitzrayim, man. They were doing that first. And so y'all ever seen some of the like on TV, some of the civilizations that worship cows, and they hold like rats sacred and mice. And so there's rats running all around everywhere. And cows literally overrun the streets. And bulls. It's crazy, man. It's crazy. And you're not allowed to just kill and eat, cows and stuff like that. They'll look at that as very, very offensive, I should say. Now, it's like that in Americas too. What would happen if you killed a dog? Right. You go to jail for that.
That's true.
So y'all know that dogs are unclean to Hebrews. And so a lot of times Hebrews, we'll have a dog, you know what I'm saying, but we don't just hold them as sacred as other nations do, well, as the Europeans do. We don't hold them as sacred like that. Generally speaking, there's always exceptions. But people from the West, like Europeans and things like that, they hold dogs very sacred.
The Chihuahua?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Oh, no, man. You get caught like killing a Chihuahua or something. Nah, they'll want you locked under the jail for that. For real. Now, like, dogs are held sacred to them. Now, if you go, and in America, if you go and kill like a rat or something, they not going to care. If you go and kill a deer, oh, great, yeah, I go hunting too. You go and kill a boar. Oh, but go and kill a Chihuahua. Oh, no, you going to jail for that. Go and kill a cat or something like that. No. Even if let's say if you're from China and to you, dogs are the same thing as like chicken or something. Yeah, they eat it all. Not here. No, you'll go to jail for that. Even if that's your culture and y'all eat dogs and stuff like that, that's illegal in the United States.
Because dogs are man's best friend.
Man, maybe that's why the other nations are referenced as dogs in the scriptures. Maybe that's why dogs are held so sacred. Because it's kind of like a ruach that because we'll have dogs. Dogs are useful. They're good tools, to guard, if you get the right ones, to guard your home. they'll be loyal and stuff like that. But a lot of our people, the dog is outside, man. Look at man, he might come inside for a little bit, but dog sure ain't sleeping in the bed. Oh no, that ain't happening. And I know this is a news flash, but man, I ain't never seen no Hebrew tongue kissing no dog, man. Kissing no dog in the mouth. I ain't seen it. I just haven't seen it. I haven't. That's all I'm saying. But I've seen that. I have. I'm sorry. I saw Meredith. I saw her kissing the dog, and then you'll be like, "Oh, that's. Oh no. Science says that dogs' mouths are cleaner than him." Man, I ain't trying to hear that. I don't care what science says. That's nasty. I don't care what science say. You kissing no dog in the mouth, man. Dogs are so sacred in America that the other nations, they actually they did worse stuff to our people than they would do a dog. A lot of the stuff that they did to us, they wouldn't do to their own dogs back then, for real. For real. It's animal worship. Let's keep going. So, keeping these things in mind, Moshe, he grew up in the house of Pharaoh. He was raised as a son of Pharaoh's daughter. So to him, Pharaoh, that's Papa. He don't know. He was only 3 months old. That's true. He don't know. You know what I'm saying? You know, the Egyptians looked like us back then. You know, it wasn't too big of a difference. It was more of a culture thing. You know, back then, like, skin color wasn't a big thing like that. Everybody, as far as skin color, it's pretty similar. It's about culture, the way you dress, your language. That's how you really, you know what I'm saying? You'll see it like that when you go to Africa. Like, I know because America is so skin color focused, you be thinking, oh, black, we black, oh, okay, white, okay, yellow, okay, it's skin color, yeah. Oh no, you go to the continent, they don't care nothing about no skin color. Matter of fact, if you go to places like Ghana, they actually will call you white boy, or they'll call you European because of what? The culture, because of our language, because we speak English, the way we dress. We don't dress like, we actually dress different though, but the typical American, wearing jeans and stuff like that, they look at that as, oh yeah, you're not one of us. This is the testimony from multiple witnesses who tried to go out there and be like, yeah, look, man, I'm with my people again. No, yeah, you ain't one of us. You one of them. Oh man, you ain't one of us. They don't look at skin color at all. You looking, oh man, look, you black, I'm black. And I did 23andMe, and it said that, man, I don't care what you did. You ain't one of us. What tribe is you with? You don't even speak the language. You don't even know. Nah, man, you one of them. You European. It was I can't remember the name in Ghana. The word they would call Black Americans. It meant like white person or something like that, or European, or Westerner or something like that. Yeah. And that's how it is biblically, too. That skin color and stuff, man, that's Babylonian. That's not real. That's not a thing. That's why we got to understand. You can't look at skin color, because that's why, there's a lot of people without skin color who is not Israel. They culture, they mind, their heart is with Babylon, and that's just what they is. And that's what they always going to be. With a lot of people. Actually, it's possibly possibly the majority. So it's interesting with Moshe. So then Moshe woke up. We're going to read about it. Let's start at verse 11. I don't want to go ahead of myself. I ain't going to say that.
Exodus chapter 2, verse 11. Now it came to pass in those days when Moshe was grown.
When he was what?
When he was grown.
So he was a baby, then it skips to him being grown. So y'all got to understand that this is a whole time where he's been raised up in Pharaoh. That is, this is the scriptures. The Torah is not meant to give you every detail of the lives of these people, man. It's snapshots. Okay, there's just a point of when he got saved, when his mama made the ark, how his mama was very virtuous and figured it out, and then how Moshe got delivered from the waters by Pharaoh's daughter, and now skipping to now he's grown. He's about, maybe 40 now. You know what I'm saying? All right, keep going.
That he went out to his brethren and looked at their burdens, and he saw an Egyptian beating a Hebrew, one of his brethren. So he looked this way and that way, and when he saw no one, he killed the Egyptian and hid him in the sand. And when he went out the second day, behold, 2 Hebrew men were fighting. And he said to the one who did the wrong, why are you striking your companion? Then he said, who made you a prince and a judge over us? Do you intend to kill me as you killed the Egyptian?
Listen, why did he ask him that? This is why. Because he was getting the best of the ark, man. Why do you think he was worried about whether or not Moshe was going to kill him or not? They were fighting, but I submit to you, dude was whooping them. Dude was putting hands on him. You know what I'm saying? And he started it too. So he probably was bullying the dude.
Right.
He probably was bullying the dude. Probably didn't want no problems. And then he beat him up. And so Moshe like, man, what's going on? He like, man, who you think you prince over us? You gonna kill me like you did the Egyptian? Because what was the Egyptian doing? He was beating up an Israelite too. You see what I'm saying? And so the dude was gonna turn on Moshe because he like, man, you gonna try to take me out too? This is one thing. Now this isn't an Egyptian. This is another Israelite, and this is an Israelite slave, and he probably got hands too. So Moshe probably wasn't gonna be able to just, all right, what's happening, and then kill him too, just like that. It wasn't gonna be that simple with him. He already knew. Oh, you gonna take me out too? What's happening? What's good? What you gonna do like you did with that other dude? I ain't that other dude. But Moshe knew what time it was. Like, oh no, man, I gotta go. He gonna turn on me. Why? Because his heart was with Egypt. He wasn't nothing but another Egyptian taskmaster, moving as a slave. Our Egyptian, he was moving in the same vein as I guess the best way to put it is that he was moving in the same vein as the Egyptian who had beat on the dude before. It goes back to what I was saying. You can't look at just because, man, they may be Israelite by blood, but where they at in their heart and in their ruach. Let's keep going.
Verse 14. Then he said, who made you a prince and a judge over us? Do you intend to kill me as you killed the Egyptian? So Moshe feared and said, surely this thing is known.
So Moshe, the reason why he asked him that is because Moshe was already trying to lead the children of Israel at that time. He was. Why do you think he was trying to tell them what to do? Right. What made him go and kill the Egyptian? He had it in his mind already. He was just premature. He was just ahead of his time. But it was in his heart already to lead the children of Israel at that time. Like something came on him, and it was the Ruach. Like the Most High put it on him. He was 40, and he had woken up to who he was. And he was going. Why was he going and visiting the Hebrews? Man, you in the house of Pharaoh. Y'all know how big of a separation it was between the nobility and the slaves? You don't deal with the slaves directly. You raised up by the daughter of Pharaoh. No, you got all kind of workers and taskmasters and employees and other Egyptian hirelings and all this to deal with all that. No, this is a huge gap. But why are you down there visiting them? Something came up on him. And he wanted to go on there. He probably thought maybe, oh yeah, I'm a Hebrew. All praise to the Most High. Well, I got money. I got the status. Pharaoh, that's my ob. I can go down there and help them. I can go down there and make sure they through. Just look after them. Make sure they through. You know what I'm saying? And he went down there. It said the first day. That means that probably was his first time ever. This was after awakening that made him go down there. They didn't go chill with the slaves. They didn't have to even be around them. How do you think Pharaoh was able to kill all them children? You can't. How, man? It's easy when you're not looking at them. When you way up in your palace. But it said it was the first day that he went over there. I said, man, that was probably his first time ever, y'all, going down and actually seeing the condition of his people. And it probably pulled at his heart, y'all. It probably crushed his heart when he saw that Egyptian dude beating on the Israelites. That's what go down probably every day. Was going down every day. But that was probably his first time actually seeing the condition of his people and seeing how they get done. So he's like, man, what? And so then he acted on it. Then he went the second day, and now it's Israelites fighting each other. Like, man, what's going on? Y'all are Akeem. How y'all fighting each other? Black on black crime. What's going on? How y'all gonna do that when y'all dealing with the same captivity?
Right.
Because the dude was probably beating them up pretty bad. And that's when he had to flee. So let's look what happened when he fled. Keep going.
Verse 15. When Pharaoh heard of this matter, he sought to kill Moshe. But Moshe fled from the face of Pharaoh and dwelt in the land of Midian, and he sat down by a well.
So he fled to the wilderness and dwelt in the land of Midian, and he sat down by a well. Keep going.
Verse 16. Now the priest of Midian had 7 daughters, and they came and drew water, and they filled the troughs to water their father's flock. Then the shepherds came and drove them away. But Moshe stood up and helped them.
He stood up and did what?
Helped them.
So that's actually, he did way more than help them. That's the Hebrew word garage, man. That means like he drove them out, like violently casted them away. And what did he do?
And watered their flock.
Keep going.
When they came to Reuel, their father, he said, how is it that you have come so soon today? And they said, an Egyptian delivered us from the hand of the shepherds. And he also drew enough water for us and watered the flock. So he said to his daughters, and where is he? Why is it that you have left this man? Call him that he may eat bread. Then Moshe was content to live with the man, and he gave Zipporah his daughter to Moshe.
Then Moshe was what?
Content to live with the man.
Content. We're talking about being content today. That word is Ya'al. So you have the Yod and then you have all. Yeah, it's about a lure. You have the Yod and the Aleph Lamed. That's all. Ya'al. Ya'al is basically about power received from being yoked to Yahusha. It's basically about power received from being yoked to Yahusha, being yoked to the strong leader, being yoked to Yahusha. Being content is about power that is received from being yoked to Yahusha. Y'all get it? What this is saying, what I submit this means, is that the way that you're not going to get true contentment unless you are yoked to Yahusha. There is no contentment without Yahusha, y'all. Hallelujah. It doesn't exist without the Most High. Ya'al. It's power. Being content is a power from Yahuwah, y'all. It's a virtue. It's a ruwako gift. It's a power from the Most High. It comes from being yoked to Yahusha. You can't just make yourself be content. You can't. You can't just make yourself be content. It is a something that comes from Yahuwah. It comes from being yoked to Yahusha, y'all. Something that he gives you, that he's able to put in your heart, and it's a skill that you can develop from the Most High. There's nothing you can't make yourself be content. You will not be content without Yahuwah. You will always be striving for the next thing if you don't have the Most High. It don't matter what you got. It don't matter if you are a super billionaire, you will have no real shalom. You will have no real contentment if you don't have Yahuwah. If you don't have the Ruach, you'll be a billionaire that may be happy at first, and then after a while you're going to be unhappy again. And trying to find out the next thing you can do. Trying to strive for the new thing. Why do y'all think these billionaires is going and doing things like having these whole sex rings and stuff? No shalom, y'all. No contentment. Why do you think this stuff was going on with Harvey Weinstein? He had the whole world. He had more money than pretty much anybody in the world. One of the richest people in the world, y'all. Why do you think he was doing all this stuff? Why do you think this stuff going on with Puff Daddy, y'all? He could get any female he want, man. He rich, but he going and doing this crazy stuff. No shalom. Always striving for the next thing, striving for the next, trying to figure out a way to get some sort of contentment, to get some sort of, and then you'll do this new thing, and then you'll be happy for a little bit, and then you'll be unhappy again. It's okay. You'll get like temporary happiness. Sometimes for somebody without Yahuwah, a long, maybe a year at the most for the same thing before you got to strive for whatever's the next thing. Y'all ever dealt with an addict? Or anybody who ever dealt with addiction themselves? You know, even with that, it's never like the first time when you got high. It's never like that after that. And what you do is you're chasing that to how it was that first time. You never content with that. Go ahead.
There's a passage, I think it might be in Proverbs. It says the leech has two characteristics, give and give.
You gotta find that address.
Yeah, I'm gonna find it.
Because that's real. That's real.
Proverbs 30, chapter 15.
Bring it out.
The leech has two daughters, give and give. There are three things that are never satisfied, four never say enough.
That's it. That's it. The reason why people get so addicted on especially hard drugs is because it's like an everlasting chase to get that first high again. For real. And they need more and more and more and more and more every single time. When you're a drug addict, the first time you get high, you just need a little bit, and it's the best feeling in the world to the person. The second time you try to do that same amount, it don't be the same. You need about double that amount after about 5-10 times. Now you're doing like 80% more than that first time just to get even. It's still not the same as that first high. And that's how people become extreme drug addicts. That's how people overdose. You ever wonder how people can overdose on drugs? Not on purpose. Because they trying so hard to get that first feeling, y'all. And so they take more and more and more and more and more because they need more and more and more and more to feel the same. Then after a while, your body gets resistant to that. The same thing with alcoholics too. You ever wonder how somebody can drink so much alcohol that they falling out on the ground, throwing up and stuff, don't even remember nothing? I'm bringing that up as an analogy because that's this, or an example because it's the same thing with possessions. The same thing. If you don't have the Most High and learn how to be content, that's the other side of the coin. That's what's gonna happen. You're always gonna be like, man, oh man, I wish I can get this car. Man, I wish I can get this car. I wish I could get this car. Then you might figure out a way to acquire it. You have it for about a year, and now you're like, man, I really want the one that has the electric seats and the extra televisions on it now. And now you don't even like the car you got no more. After a year, you traveling for the next car. You ever known anybody who got a new car like every other year? Every year they got a new car, for real. Yeah. A lot of times the preachers can afford it because they pulling in that big money, but I'm talking about regular people actually going in a financial disarray because they always they got to have that new car. Children were like that. And you got to teach your children to learn to be content. Because I'm working on that with mine, well, especially my younger ones. Dad, I really want this. I really want this. All right, son. All right, daughter. I get them that thing, and they happy for 2 days. You wanted that thing so bad. You played with that thing for 2 days. And coming to me talking about the next thing you want. Oh, no. You need to go right over there and play with that thing over there. Contentment, man. Contentment. Let's keep reading. Let's keep going. Read verse 21.
21. Exodus chapter 2, verse 21. Then Moshe was content to live with the man, and he gave Zipporah his daughter to Moshe.
Think about this, y'all. Moshe came from the palaces of Pharaoh. And now he's in the desert. He meets an ox. He got $7 though. You know what I'm saying? They don't look that bad. He's willing to give me the firstborn of the daughters to marry and everything. And it said he was content to live with them. Man, you came from the palaces of Egypt. Now you in the wilderness in the desert with the Midianites. You came from the big city with all the shiny lights and the glitz and glamour and gold. If y'all ever looked at ancient Egypt and how they were serious about all that stuff, to being in the country. But see, what happened was Yithro took him as that. See, what happened was Moshe woke up. He got rejected by his parents, Pharaoh and them. And Yithro took him as the hundredfold family. That's what happened. Yeah. Because Moshe woke up, his family rejected him. His family rejected him, and Yithro took him in as a hundredfold family. All right, Yithro don't have all the rooms like the palace had, man. You know, I might have to, man, you know what I'm saying? The room a lot smaller. I got to figure that out. I don't have all the luxuries that I had in Egypt. I don't have no maid. I don't have no servants. Ain't no cable TV out here, man. Wi-Fi a little slower out here. Ain't got no HEB around here, nothing, man. Man, in Egypt, boy, they had everything. They had the marketplace right there. You just walk to the marketplace, man. They had the food delivery. I could just send my servant. He coming back with whatever I want from the marketplace. Right. Over here, you actually got to work your food. You got to work the land. Oh snap! You gotta process your own meat. Man, hold up. You gotta go and fetch your water. You saw what Moshe did? He had fetched all the water for the daughters. You think he had to do that in Egypt? He ain't had to do that. You can send your servants to do all that. That's a servant's job. This is showing that Moshe really humbled himself as a servant. That's how Yithro was able to take him as the hundredfold. He like, oh yeah, you through. Oh man, man. He saw the daughters come back quick. He like, man, where y'all get back this quick, man? It usually takes all day to get the water for the flocks. That's an all day job. How y'all get back here in 2 hours? Man, he had came, man, he had drove out the other shepherds. Oh man, you talking about them dudes from across the tracks, man? Man, they've been a problem for years. He drove them out. Oh man, you should. Where he go? Nah, he need to come over here. And he took him in as a son. That is what happened. That's why the scriptures kept repeating. Jethro, Moses' father-in-law. Jethro, Moses' father-in-law. That's Hanit. Remember we talked about that a lot. The word Hanit. Oh, y'all remember that? Okay, hallelujah. But that's why they keep repeating that. Jethro, Moses' father-in-law. Jethro, Moses' father-in-law. That's a hundredfold family. Yithro was in the walk. He's a Hebrew. He comes from the children of Midian. That's the descendants of Abraham through Keturah. This Mishpachah. This extended family, man. He took him in. He let him marry his daughter. But it's a whole totally different lifestyle now. Y'all know what Moshe started doing under Yithro's house? Oh, who said that? You say it again. A shepherd. Say it out loud, Nathaniel. Go ahead.
A shepherd?
Moshe became a shepherd. A shepherd was an abomination to the Egyptians. Right. Moshe really woke up. Yep. Like, he is woke. Man, I grew up believing, man, all this Christianity and stuff, man. I grew up believing, man, that shepherd stuff was wicked. When really, man, that's the ways of our people. Man, forget this, man. I'm gonna be a shepherd. Let me learn the ways about my being a shepherd. Man, he went to Yithro's house, man. He became a shepherd, started moving in the ways of his fathers. He was brought up in the ways of Pharaoh. They taught him Christianity up in there. He probably was in there eating pork and everything. Y'all really think Moshe wasn't eating pork? Nah, for real. He probably was up in there doing all that.
McRibs.
For real. The good old McRib, that's like some coagulate meat patty that they call a rib, but it don't look like ain't no bone or nothing. It's like they just call it a rib. They put it in like a mold so it'll be shaped like a rib. It's like a pudding. They put in a mold, then they heat it up till it get hard, and that's shaped like a rib, and they call it the McRib. A good old mystery meat. Y'all know, ain't no telling what kind of stuff. They said it's pork, man. Ain't no telling. Mix a little bit of everything in that junk. But man, Moshe woke up. He probably learned all this stuff. Oh man, I ain't even supposed to be eating this crap. Eating this pork and all this junk in Egypt. They taught me that being a shepherd was wicked. I grew up thinking that the Hebrews was abomination. You would have showed me this is who I am. But you notice the Midianites still thought he was an Egyptian because he still didn't. He woke up, but he still, his culture, the way he dressed, probably his language, he looked Egyptian. Because again, didn't nobody look at it. It wasn't no skin color differences or none of that. It's about your culture, how you dress, your language, and stuff like that. And so, Moshe, man, I'm talking about, man, he totally went 360 after this experience. And I submit there's a reason why he had to spend 40 years with Yithro, learning the ways of his fathers, learning the ways of his people. See, the Midianites, they knew the ways of Abraham because they wasn't in. See, the thing about the Israelites is that they were in captivity for a long time, so they lost their way. So the Most High basically had caused Moshe to be in a situation where he's at least under some of the family that still had and held some of the ways of Yahuwah, because they weren't in no captivity or nothing like that. That's why I kept saying, Yithro, a priest. Yithro, a priest. Remember, when y'all got to understand this, y'all. Like before Israel was a nation, you had the Hebrews. Who are the Hebrews? These are basically like the descendants of Abraham. Were a people. They were a people. They weren't like super united or nothing like that, but they was just a people of a company of shepherds and herdsmen who held a lot of the ways of Abraham, because remember what Yahuwah gave Abraham the covenant and he passed it down to his sons. Even the covenant of circumcision, he passed it down to his sons. That's why in the Torah portion, when Moshe was about to when Moshe was about to get killed by the Malak, his wife knew what time it was and circumcised the son real quick. Y'all know that his wife probably knew about circumcision more than Moshe at that time. How did Moshe know about the custom of circumcision? He wasn't raised in Torah. He was raised in Egypt. His wife, descendant of Abraham, descendant of Yithro, priest of Midian, had saved his life. She had the discernment to know what's going on. Remember, the covenant was given to Abraham of circumcision. It's not just Israel who does the circumcisions. If you go to the continent, almost all, a large amount of the civilizations on the continent today do circumcision, because that was a thing that was given to Abraham. So, if you look at the Ishmaelites, they do circumcision, and the list goes on and on. But my point is, this is before Israel was a nation. You had the Hebrews, and they did the circumcision on the 8th day, especially during this time, because this is very close to Abraham. This is only a few generations past Abraham. So they still did a lot of the same customs. And Yahuwah dealt with certain individuals. Like Job, for example. He was an Edomite, descendant of Abraham. But Job was probably around before Israel was a nation. So you notice Yahuwah dealt with Job. He was an Edomite. There were certain individuals that Yahuwah dealt with if they were righteous. And then the Most High made a nation to himself, and that's when things became on another level. All right, let's keep going.
Verse 22. And she bore him a son. He called his name Gershom, for he said, I have been a stranger in a foreign land. Now it happened in the process of time that the king of Egypt died. Then the children of Israel groaned because of the bondage, and they cried out, and their cry came up to Eluah because of the bondage. So Eluah heard their groaning, and Eluah remembered his covenant with Abraham, Yitzhak, and Yaakov.
That's where we at now. Keep going.
And Eluah looked upon the children of Yashar.
Oh, he did what?
He looked upon the children.
Oh, snap. So that means his eyes was on them. Oh. Contentment, being content. It's about power received from being yoked to Yahusha. It's about being yoked to Yahusha. And that's what we all need to understand, is that you are not going to be content without the Most High. Okay, we got that down. Let's go to, let's look at this. Philippians. Chapter 4, verse 10, it says, but I rejoiced in Yahuwah greatly that now at last your care for me has flourished again. Though you surely did care, but you lacked opportunity. Not that I speak in regard to need, for I have learned in whatever state I am to be This is Paul talking. Think about Paul or Shaul. If I want to be Hebraic. Think about Shaul. He was very similar to Moshe. His story is very similar. So Shaul grew up as a Pharisee, born and raised. He was a Roman citizen. Y'all know Romans didn't just make anybody citizens. So Shaul was pretty much almost in nobility status. He was he had a doctorate degree. He had the greatest of education in Torah and in things like that. He talked about how he was brought up and learned from Hillel. That's like going to Harvard in Israel. You see what I'm saying? He was learned up under Hillel, Hebrews. And gave all that away to serve Yahuwah, to the point to where he was shipwrecked, stoned. People tried to stone him to death one time. He sometimes didn't know where he was going to sleep at, going from city to city. And I mean, content. You can read all his letters. That man, he got locked up many of times. And then finally, after years, they got to him and killed him finally. They've been trying to kill him for a long time, though. And, after years, they eventually got to him. And I believe I believe he got beheaded. Looking at some of the writings of some of the traditions on what happened to Paul, but it don't speak on what happened to him in the scriptures because you just see the letters he wrote while he was alive. So it's not all what we have of Paul is the book of Acts, and then you have the letters he wrote. So it's no record of when he died, not in the scriptures. So we're looking at external stuff. There's a Fox Book of Martyrs, I think, talks about his death. I believe he was beheaded, is what the records are showing. But either way, that doesn't matter. The point is that he ended up getting killed. He was, even when locked up, you didn't hear him complain. Right. He didn't complain about nothing. How could you do that and not complain and go through that? How could you go? Everybody turned on him. There was one letter, Maleki Husha talked about it a lot. There was one letter he was writing when everybody turned on him from the assemblies. Right. He was like, man, everybody turned on me. He like, man, don't talk to so and so and them no more, man. They have hostile. He ain't say it like that, but I'm just paraphrasing. You could see in his letters he was dealing with, people he thought was faithful who turned on him. He was dealing with all kind of stuff, but never complained. So he's not just writing this to the Philippians just cause. He's for real. He's about what he's saying. He said, not that I speak in regard to need, for I have learned in whatever state I am to be content. I know how to be abased, and I know how to be abound. He's basically saying I know how to be poor, and I know how to be, abound, full of possessions. Everywhere and in all things, I have learned both to be full and to be hungry, both to abound and to suffer need. I can do all things through Hamashiach who strengthens me. Did y'all know that verse, I can do all things through Hamashiach who strengthens me, is literally about just being content. I know we'll just pull out verse 13 and we'll just use it in all kind of ways. But I can do all things through Hamashiach who strengthens me. Shaul wrote that verse in reference, meaning that be content in any situation. I can't emphasize how important it is to master the art of being content. Of wherever Yahuwah wants you to be and wherever he has you. you'll lose it. You'll get kicked out of the kingdom over just not being able to know how to be content. It won't be no excuse from the Most High because He has given us everything we need to have this, to know this. He's given us His Ruach. We're yoked to Yahusha. He's given us the impartations. He's given us the things that we need to be able to know how to be in shalom with Him. Like reality, man. Look, it's about dying to self, man. That's what it is when it comes to being content. When the Maleks keep talking about dying to self, that's what he's talking about. At least an aspect of it. Like you gotta just be able to learn how to just chill. I can't emphasize that more, man. You gotta be able to learn how to just chill, be able to ride. I be telling my Isha that sometimes. I be like, man, just ride. Hey, where we going? Where we going? Well, what we finna do though? What time we getting back? Hey, look. Look, baby, listen. Just ride. We gonna get home. We get home. We gonna go where we gonna go. That's. Hey, look, just ride. Y'all know my direction ain't the best. I'll miss some turns, miss some exits. It'll be all right. We gonna get there. We gonna bust the U. What's the? Just ride. Learn how to. We'll be all right. Why are we going this way? You know, if we would have went the other way, it would have. Look. Man, look. Just ride. Learn how to be able to chill. Just rest in the Most High. Rest in the Most High. Why y'all think Yahuwah chose Moshe, man, to lead the children of Israel? He knew how to be content in all situations. Why did Yahuwah choose y'all? Think about it, y'all. Think about it. The Most High, it had to have been a specific person that would be able to handle this job that he had Moshe to do. Moshe was like, man, I can't speak well. Moshe was thinking about the wrong thing. Yahuwah wasn't worried about who could speak well. That's the smallest of the issues, man. I'm finna have you go before the Pharaoh, and I need you to be able to deal with Pharaoh rejecting you, all the mishpachah, all the people going against you, all your people going against. I need somebody who's gonna be able to handle being in this wilderness. And I told y'all I'm gonna bring y'all to the promised land, but it's gonna be about 40 years. I'm gonna make y'all go without food for some days. I'm gonna make y'all sit in the hot sun some days. I'm gonna have some serpents come out. I need somebody who can handle that. I don't care about who can. The talkings, that's the least of the things. I don't care about that.
Right.
But he was thinking about the vain parts. He was thinking in his own, that when you lean on your own understanding, you'll be thinking about the wrong stuff. Not knowing that what Yahuwah put in you is actually whatever he called you for. Oh no, you got exactly what's needed. You just don't know what's coming.
Yeah.
For real. That's one thing. Go ahead. Oh, say it again.
Oh. I said he was insecure.
Yeah, he was insecure. But the point is that the thing he was insecure about was not even what Yahuwah was looking for, right. Is my point.
Right.
He didn't need nobody who was a great speaker for this. He needed somebody who knew how to be content in our situation. That was way more important than someone who's a thub speaker.
Right.
Way more important. Paul was the same way. That's what I'm telling y'all. Paul was very similar to Moshe. What did Paul tell y'all? Didn't he say, man, I ain't able to, I'm not no thub speaker. There's people who comes with these great speeches and things. He said he didn't have that skill. Why do Yahuwah call Paul? Paul knew how to be content in all situations, though. You'll have somebody who's super eloquent in speech, great speaker, but can't endure nothing. Can't endure anything. Paul was just like Moshe. Moshe was learned up in the ways of the Egyptians. Paul was learned up in the ways of the Romans. He ain't grow up in Israel. He grew up in Tarsus. That's where he from. Saul of Tarsus. He was so well learned in the ways of the Romans, Yahuwah had set him up to be a preacher to the Gentiles. And he was able to speak of the different philosophers and stuff when he was teaching. He said, I know how to be a certain way to whoever I need to be. Who else was going to be able to go to before Pharaoh and say, let my people go? Moshe was well learned in the way of the Egyptians. He grew up out there, man. He knew how to get to Pharaoh. He was raised up in the house of Pharaoh's daughter, man. He knew what to do. Paul was so well learned in the ways of the Romans when they tried to falsely accuse him of speaking of blasphemy and speaking against the Torah and things like that. He was able to appeal to Caesar. Right. Keith and them, man, the hood dudes, they couldn't do nothing like that. Right. Peter and them weren't gonna be able to appeal to Caesar for nothing. For real. And he was able to speak before the leaders of Rome and them and bring out the Besorah. He was able to bring out the Besorah before them. Now I know those were the leaders in Israel. Those were the leaders of the council and the Pharisees, but they were just puppets from Rome. Y'all get what I'm saying? Say they inadvertently or indirectly were leaders of Rome. Paul and Moshe, leaders set up by Yahuwah because they knew how to be content. They had the art of contentment in them. Moshe never complained in the wilderness, man. Well, only time he really went hard was when regarding his people. But he never complained. Let's keep going. Let's go to let's look at 1 Timothy 6. I think it's Timotheus Rishon. I didn't have time. I was rushing. In Hebrew, I believe it's Timotheus Rishon. But it says, verse 6, now godliness with contentment is what?
Great gain.
But we got to believe that, though. It is great gain to be content. Because when you content, you can be poor but living like a millionaire in your heart and in your ruach because you are content, though. When you are content, you can be making $30K a year, but have the dudes making $20 million a year or $30 million a year seeking you. Because you have something that they can't get, the ruach, man.
Yeah.
Now godliness with contentment is great gain. For we brought nothing into this world, and it is certain we can carry nothing out. And having food and clothing with these, we shall be
Content.
What did Yahuwah say he did to the Israelites when they were in the wilderness? He said, your clothes never wore out, nor your shoes.
Right.
So that meant the Israelites should have been content. But no, they was like, dang, man, it was better in Egypt, man. They had the H-E-B and the McDonald's down there. But the Most High made sure that their clothes never wore out and their shoes never wore out. Verse 9, but those who desire to be rich fall into temptation and it is a trap to desire to be rich. It is a snare. You will fall into that. I remember, man, like Moshe, he lost the desire to be rich. He had no desire in that. He was content being a shepherd, chilling with Yithro. He stayed there for 40 years. It didn't matter if he was there for the rest of his life. I do believe he probably thought he would just be there for the rest of his life. He didn't get called by Yahuwah until he was 80. He was there for 40 years. Can you imagine being in the same place for 40 years? You comfortable. When the scriptures say that he was content living with Yithro, he was there for 40 years. Like, he was through. He done got him his wife. He done got his children, his family. His children probably was growing up. He wasn't trying to go nowhere else. Man, forget Egypt. Yithro probably went to Egypt sometimes. Hey man, I'll be right back, man. I'm gonna go to Egypt, go to the casino. Hey, you wanna come with me? Oh no, I ain't gonna. You got it, Yithro. All right, maybe not the casino, but he probably, man, I'm going to Egypt. I'm going to the marketplace, something. I bet Moshe was through, man. I'm through. I'm gonna just handle these flocks out here. Yithro, you got it. I'll see you when you get back. But those who desire to be rich fall into temptation and a snare and into many foolish and harmful lusts, which do what? Which drown men in destruction and perdition. You get drowned underwater once you start desiring to be rich. It pulls you away from the Most High. It is harder for a rich man to make it into the kingdom of heaven than for a camel to spit through the eye of a needle. We were talking about that last night. That's what Yahusha said. I ain't say that. What Yahusha said. So yeah, my family, they did not understand it at all when I didn't want my sons to have hoop dreams. I didn't want my children to be no ballers and be rich and all that. I didn't care about that. If they weren't serving Yahuwah, that was. If any of my children made it to where they were making millions, but they not serving Yahuwah, I would feel a super failure. I could care less about that. That's the mindset that we got to have. That's the mindset. You know the only reason why you had that desire, that's the desire of the flesh, the desire to be rich and wealthy, the desire of the flesh. Now, let me say this, though. Let me say this now. We need to be content in all things, but the Most High is going to bless us with great possessions. It's coming. But don't worry about it, though. Let him handle it. You just be content and you move in Yahuwah and Yahusha. But we're going to come out with great possession. That's what the Torah say. You know what I'm saying? But I'm telling y'all, I've been there. When you on that Babylonian race to blow up, when you in that rat race, oh man, there's no way you can do that and serve Yahuwah. Then when you finally complete the race, ask anybody who did the rat race and won. They complete it, and then they're like, "Oh yeah, this ain't what I thought. I'm not happy. I got the house. I got See the enemy. See the enemy is a deceiver big time because he'll make sure you're not happy too. You get the house and everything. You'll get the big $20 million house. You'll be in Beverly Hills. But then he'll make it to where nobody around you is real though. Everybody around you fake. Everybody. So now you yearning for like just real relationships. Everybody around you just because you rich. Nobody real. Ain't nobody who gonna take no bullet for you. Ain't nobody who have no real love. It's because you rich. They'll do whatever you say though. Hey man, go on. Hop like a dog. Bark like a dog. They'll do all that. Hop like a frog, man. They'll do all that. Y'all seen Coming to America? He was looking for a bride. He didn't want the bride who was doing that. He said, bark like a dog. She said, woo, woo, woo. He like, man, I can't do that. None of the relationships are real. So then now you can't really you ain't gonna have no real wife. So what happens is most people who are rich, they'll get married, but they know it's not real. They know. And so they'll maybe do a prenup, they'll maybe do something like that, and they'll just make it last as long as they can until they get divorced, and they just get divorced. They know it's not real. Because everybody around you is around you because you got money. You might have your mama. You might still have Big Mama. But man, when you get rich off of Hasatan, he'll take out your parents. He'll take out anybody who has a real relationship. He'll take out anybody who has a real relationship with you. And that's where you see a lot of that stuff happen, where there's what they would call sacrifices in the industry. You know, somebody becomes real big and all of a sudden their mom or something, you know, passes just suddenly or something crazy like that. It be them rituals and be them things because them other Lewis be wanting sacrifices too. And so, yeah, that stuff be real, man. Kanye West. Michael Jordan. Yeah, Jennifer Hudson, her whole family. Yeah, her mama, all them. That junk crazy, man. And so now you done. Those were the only people. I know, Grandma. I'm doing good. I'm doing too. Yeah, that's a ruach. But like, think about Kanye. That was the last person who really actually he had like a real who loved him for him. Who else? Because I don't believe he was raised by his father, nothing like that. So that was the person. And so now everybody around you, so you just marrying models and stuff. You know it's not real. But it's just for pleasure. It'll be temporary. You do a prenup, you know. But you always going to yearn for a real relationship. What kind of life is that if you don't have no real relationships, no real friendships, no real mishpaka? Mike Tyson talked about as soon as he lost his money, everybody left him. So Mike Tyson, he got rich when he was real young. Y'all know I be always talking about boxing because that was just something we were big on growing up. But Mike Tyson, he was a millionaire at like 19 or something. Just think about that. Kiefer, what, is 20? What's her name? You 19, right? Think about this, y'all. Mike Tyson, multimillionaire. 19. So he didn't understand or know better. He actually thought these were his real friends. He didn't know better. He was 19. He had all these people surrounding him all the time, and then he found out when he made bad decisions and lost his money, all of a sudden they wouldn't answer the phone no more. Hey, man, I thought you said we were brothers, man. What's going on? Yeah, answer the phone. Hey, man. Leaving 5, 10 messages. Hey, man, I'm going through this stuff, man. I need your help. Ain't answering the phone. Dang, man, I gave him everything. I done bought him an apartment. When he was down and out, I had lended him this, I lended him that. And now I'm in need. He ain't answering the phone all of a sudden. That's real, y'all. That's real. We take this stuff for granted, for real. Just having real relationships, having real mishpaka. But those who desire to be rich fall into temptation and a snare, and into many foolish and harmful lusts, which drown men in destruction and perdition. For what? The love of money is a root of all kinds of evil. Yeah, no, that ain't what that says. Y'all see that that kinds is kinds and of is in italics. It's kind of hard to tell in that. If you look in the scriptures, you'll see the kinds and of is in italics. This is what it says. For the love of money is the root of all evil. For the love of money is the root of all evil. That's what this says. For which some have strayed from the faith in their greediness and pierced themselves through with many sorrows. All right, Galatians chapter 5. Let's look at this, y'all. This is huge. Galatians chapter 5. I say then, verse 16, walk in the Ruach. This is how you are able to be content. You can't just say, all right, I'm going to be content, and you're going to be content. No, the only way you're going to be content is through Yahuwah and Yahusha, because it is a gift of the Ruach. You don't have the power to make yourself content. You don't. Walk in the Ruach, and you shall not fulfill the lust of the flesh. You have to walk in the Ruach in order to be content, in order to master the art of contentment. You have to be able to walk in the Ruach in order to move in the way and to be able to be content in your situations that Yahuwah wants you to be in. It's about being able to be content in the situations that Yahuwah wants you to be in. That's what it's about.
Hallelujah.
Yahuwah wanted the children of Israel to be in a wilderness. So you got to learn how to be content in that. Yahuwah wanted Moshe to be in the wilderness for 40 years with Yithro. He had to learn to be content in that. I submit the reason why Moshe had to be out there for 40 years is because he had to get Egypt out of him. Being under Yithro for 40 years, he got all that Egyptian stuff up out of him. He learned how to be a shepherd. He learned the ways of his fathers. If he wasn't in the wilderness and had to learn how to deal with less and how to be able to be content with less, he wouldn't have been able to master all the things Yahuwah wanted him to master. Walk in the Ruach, and you shall not fulfill the lust of the flesh. For the flesh lusts against the Ruach, and the Ruach against the flesh. And these are contrary to one another, so that you do not do the things that you wish. But if you are led by the Ruach, you are not under the Torah. I know it's easy to tell. It's easy to just misinterpret that. If you are led by the Ruach, what it's saying is that you are not under the penalty of the Torah. You're not under the curse of the Torah. You're not under, for example, like the curses of Deuteronomy 28 anymore. If you're led by the Ruach. Y'all get what I'm saying? It's called the law of sin and death. Verse 19, now the works of the flesh are evident, which are adultery, fornication. I was talking about this yesterday. So Babylon is driven by the harlot. It's the harlot that rides the beast, the woman that rides Babylon, that rides the beast. I'm sorry. Babylon is the woman. It's the woman that rides the beast. Is the whole system. It's the Roman system, the fourth beast, Rome. And there's a woman who's a harlot who rides the beast. And it says that she is full of fornication and abominations and filthiness, and the nations are drunk by basically the wrath of her fornication. I can't remember how it's worded, but basically the nations all took part of her fornication. And so that's why anybody who is of the beast, they're going to be full of this. That's why there were people who were in the tribe at one point in time. This was a long time ago, but there were people who were in the tribe at one point in time who could not stop doing this. They just couldn't. It was not possible. And so they couldn't remain. It wasn't possible for them to stop doing that. Why? Because they were joined to the beast. They were joined to Babylon. If you are joined to Babylon, these are the things that you're going to be doing. Adultery, fornication, uncleanness. Ah. So uncleanness is in the Torah. It's about so in the Torah, if we read like Vayikra, Leviticus, and it talks about you're unclean until evening if you get in touch with certain things. If you get in touch with or for example, nidar, we say hey don't function in certain ways if you're on your nidar, things like that. Those are examples of uncleanness. But what uncleanness symbolizes is it symbolizes like having dirty garments, being nasty, literally uncleanness, just being nasty, man, being disgusting, being filthy. Yeah, from a physical perspective, yeah. Yahuwah does not like uncleanness. So yeah, you shouldn't come into assembly smelling like, body odor. Smelling like doo-doo. I did that on purpose for the children. But you shouldn't come in the assembly with body odor without washing yourself. Remember, you're coming in here to be an offering. When Yahuwah talks about an offering that he accepts, he says it's a sweet what? Aroma to his nostrils. So how you going to be a thub offering if you stink? Like why don't we like it when people stink? It's because the Most High don't like it, y'all. We're made of his image. For real. Y'all ain't never thought about that? Nah, I'm not. There's a difference between natural, because I know some cultures, they may not do like deodorant all the time, stuff like that. But even in the scriptures, man, when you read Song of Solomon, man, they did the oils, they did the incense, they did all that stuff. They always washed. When you read Torah, one thing about Israelites, they were the cleanest people. Israelites were the cleanest people out of all the nations, for real. For real. After you do all these things, you got to wash with water. After you do that, wash with water, and then you can come back before me again. If that happens, wash with water, then you can come before me again. Right. But if this happens, you need to give about 7 days. Then wash with water, then you can come before me again. Man, like for real. Days. Yeah, like we was the cleanest people because of our lure. We was the cleanest. We didn't even know about germs. We didn't have no microscopes back then. Did I say that right? Microscopes. We had no microscopes and knew about germs and stuff. Did y'all know that a lot of the other nations, because they didn't have Torah, they didn't know they had to bathe and stuff like that regularly. Right. They didn't know about germs. They didn't get that until later once they got microscopes and certain things like that, and they realized, oh snap, if I wash my hands with soap, that actually helps prevent certain diseases and stuff. They didn't have that. That we take that for granted. That came from Torah. That came from Yahuwah. That, hey, man, if you sneeze and get snot on your hand, you got to wash with water. You don't come in the temple. You unclean. Wash with water, and then you unclean until evening. Then you can come. Like little stuff like that. If you didn't have Torah, you ain't know that. You just like, oh, well, it's natural, man. You know what I'm talking about? Yeah. And be nasty. Like bubonic plague. Did y'all know the Israelites wasn't getting the bubonic plague? The bubonic plague was in Europe because they were so unsanitary. In the Middle Ages, they were so unsanitary. They wasn't washing a lot. They didn't know better. They didn't have Torah or none of that. And so it was a lot of just unsanitariness going on. I know that ain't a word, but y'all get what I'm saying. Think about even with nidar. You unclean, you got to wash with water, and then 7 days, and then you can come back before me. Think about the civilizations who didn't have that. You can imagine, right? So you had all that going on. You got bodily fluids, people having contact with different stuff, germs, and now these plagues are hitting, and these sicknesses are hitting because of that. And the bubonic plague, man, during the Middle Ages, man, Europe was getting wiped out. I'm talking, I believe the death toll was like millions, but the Israelites wasn't getting touched by it. So then what happened was the Europeans started looking at the Israelites and they believed that the Israelites was causing the bubonic plague. I actually looked at that and thought that was ridiculous, but now they might have had a point there. I don't know. Was they declaring? I don't know. They started persecuting the Israelites, man, because they wasn't getting bubonic plague. They the ones causing it. They cursing the people. They not getting it because they the ones doing it. I thought that was real ridiculous. Real crazy, but I look back, I'm like, man, there might have been some people declaring against them, man. For real. But a big part of it was because the Israelites, it was just their culture to wash regularly, every day, all the time. They washing for everything. Even when you're married, you lay with your Isha, you wash with water, you're unclean till evening. You don't just do acts like that and just be chilling. You don't do that. Not if you're Israelite, you know you got to wash right away because there's things that come with that. All right. Let's keep going. We're wrapping it up. We're getting close to wrapping it up. All right. For the flesh lusts against the Ruach, and the Ruach against the flesh, and these are contrary to one another, so that you do not do the things that you wish. So the flesh is contrary to the Ruach. So moving in, remember I talked about this a long time ago. It might have been before some of y'all got here. It was a long time ago. But when the scriptures talk about moving according to the flesh or moving according to the world, that basically means you're moving according to the ways of the nations. The ways of the flesh is moving according to the ways of the nations, which is symbolized as the waters, right? Moving by the Ruach is moving in the ways of Yahuwah, which is symbolized by the oil. Who said oil? I heard one person. Who said oil? Who said it? I'm going to get the recording and I'm going to find out. But you were right. So the nations was symbolized by the waters, and the Ruach, the flesh, is symbolized by the waters, because that's the nations moving by the ways of the flesh, moving by the ways of the world. The Ruach is symbolized by the oil. And it says that these are contrary to one another because that's water and oil. They don't mix. They contrary to one another. They're contrary to one another so that you do not do the things that you wish. Yeah, you might think that you might have some desire to do some fornication because you feel some feelings in your flesh. You ain't going to do it though. Right. Because you're living by the Ruach. One thing that a person of Yahuwah knows is that you cannot let yourself get overtaken by the desires of your flesh. It's one of the most foolish things you can do. Well, I just want to do what I want to do. No, you just want to do what your flesh wants to do. Because I'm telling you, your Ruach is going to want to do something different. There were times where I did something that my flesh wanted to do, long time ago, and did it and felt terrible because then my Ruach came in right after that.
That's right.
Felt terrible. I mean terrible, horrible. Totally regretted it immediately afterwards. Caved into the flesh, and then your Ruach kicks in. You thinking you doing what you want to do just because that's what your flesh want to do. You crazy. No, what's happening is that you're letting yourself get become captive to your flesh when you're supposed to actually be led by your Ruach. And you're supposed to actually hold your flesh captive. Every time you make the decision to not cave into what your flesh wants, to make sure you're moving by the Ruach, every time you're doing that, you're getting victory over the flesh. Now you're moving in the ways of the Shamayim now. Now you're moving in an eternal way now. Because you're moving above and beyond the ways of what your flesh is saying you want. Let's keep going. Now the works of the flesh are evident: adultery, fornication, uncleanness, lewdness. So uncleanness and lewdness are tied together. Y'all, idolatry. Y'all already know, sorcery. So sorcery, again, that's probably pharmakia. So understand that the lust of the flesh goes back to what I was talking about earlier. Addiction, drug addiction, pharmaceutical addiction. That means legal drug addiction. I know that's not a real thing, but that's what I meant by when I said that, though. Legal drug addiction. Okay, yeah, you can go to the pharmacy and get it. That don't mean that the Most High not looking at that as sorcery. That's pharmakia, all right? Hatred. You shouldn't be walking around talking about you hate nobody.
Right.
That's the works of the flesh. You may be dealing with an issue with contentment if you walking around talking about you so angry at this person, you so mad at that person. Man, what in the world, man? How you die to yourself, but you talking about you so mad at somebody? How you die to yourself? How are you content, but you so offended by somebody? If you really moving in contentment, no, you in shalom. Somebody did something that was wrong, you moving by the Ruach in that situation, not by the flesh. Now, I know when you're dealing with the other nations, that's kind of, we're not talking about that. Right now I'm talking about the mishpachah, stuff like that. That's what I'm talking about. But even generally speaking, in every way, we're moving by the Ruach. Okay. Contentions. Always offended by something. Always got to argue. Always bucking against everything. Jealousies. Look here, man. If you did, a lot of the mishpachah deal with jealousy and envy. Y'all, that's a work of the flesh. You have not died to self if you get jealous easily of your Akar or Cody. Outbursts of wrath, selfish ambitions, dissensions, heresies, envy, murders, drunkenness, revelries. What does revelries mean? I didn't dig into that one. Partying? Oh, okay, that makes sense. Okay. So then that goes back to not being all up in the club, because that definitely comes from not being content. I remember, man, when I was young and I just had an issue with being content, I always had to be somewhere. I did. I always had to go out and do so. I had to be, so I couldn't just chill. I'm telling y'all, you got to master the art of knowing how to just chill and rest in Yahuwah. I remember that, man. Always trying to go somewhere. Hey, man, what's going on? Trying to see what's going on. Hey, there ain't nothing to do. Ain't no party going on. Man, ain't nothing to do today. Man. And then you feeling restless. All right, well, I'm going to just go out here and post up at duty in them crib. Duty in them. Everybody, y'all had a duty in them.
Nah.
You go to his crib, and it's always a party at his crib. They at least playing dominoes. They drinking, they smoking, they doing something. You just couldn't chill. You had to do something. And you just go to duty in them crib and play dominoes or something, or play cards. Yeah.
Play Madden.
Yeah, so in other translations let's see here. I just say look at that word reveries in other translations. You might shock yourself. But it goes back to what they used to do at the winter solstice. I actually think Paul was taking shots here because it goes back to that. What they used to do at the winter solstice with each other, particularly Rome. That's what that word is translated in other versions as. So it's P. Diddy house. It's P. Diddy house. Yeah. So yeah, it go back to that. That thing pretty it's pretty filthy.
So that just ain't no regular party.
No, that ain't no regular party. That's
But that's but that happened with the children of Israel when they worshiped the golden calf. That's what happened. They had a revelry. They had a P. Diddy party off of them, man. That's why Moshe was so mad, man. Because that stuff didn't just start with P. Diddy and them. That's ancient. That goes back. That's Babylonian. That goes back to the Aluas they serve, like you said, with winter solstice and stuff like that. Reveries and the like, of which I tell you. Now, this is, I don't know why. I don't know why churches don't. Anyway. Which I tell you beforehand, just as I told you in time past, that those who do what?
Practice such things.
That means those who do these things, right? That's pretty clear, right? That those who practice such things will not inherit the kingdom of Alua. That's why we got to a point where anybody who was practicing those things, they weren't going to be able to remain. They're not going to make it. You moving in adultery, fornication, you moving in all these things, how you going to make it? When multiple scriptures say that those who do those things will not make it, because that's what that's what you're going to find in the world, not in the kingdom. And it's not because anybody's special. No, Yahuwah specifically gives you what you need so you will not move in these things. That's what do you think the sapphire and amber is about? What do you think these things are about? Like somebody saw, I think it was Yirmiyahu, we saw arrows going into people, filling them with sapphire. Why do you think Yahuwah's doing that? That's real. This is what Yahuwah's doing. It's causing you to not move in these things because you are of the kingdom. You are of his people. So the only way that you move in these things is you gotta be like actively going. It's like you getting the arrow. Remember we talked about Torah is hitting the mark? It's like you getting the arrow, that's the mark, and you doing like this. Ha! You just purposely don't care. You just do it. On purpose. All right. So we understand that those who practice these things will not inherit the kingdom. They will not. We're talking about an inheritance. So when you talk an inheritance, what are you talking about? You're talking about a birthright. That's what. We read these words in the Brit Hadashah, not really. We always talk about it a lot. Oh, the inheritance. We're talking about inheriting the kingdom of Alua. We're talking about an inheritance that's promised to us, y'all. And that comes from being the firstborn. But what happens is a lot of people give up their inheritance for food and money, just like Esau did. It's the doctrine of Esau. This is what Christianity teaches. Why do you think Christianity teaches that the law is done away with? Because they want you to give up your inheritance. Why do you think it's Christianity, Islam, and it's Judaism? They all try to replace you. Christianity says the law is done away with, and Christianity also says that our denomination is the new Kodashim, not Israel anymore. Because Israel has sinned and they have fell away from the Most High. And so our denomination, insert whatever denomination that is, we're the new people, 144,000. We're the new Kodashim. You know, when it says saints, they're talking about our denomination. For real. We are now Israel. They'll just say spiritual Israel. And I know that they fell away from the Most High because they didn't keep Torah. But now we're the new people of the Most High, and we don't have to keep Torah, though. The law's done away with. How does that make sense? Islam. Okay, no. I know it said that the firstborn is given to Ishmael because y'all know Ishmael was born first. Ishmael was born before what's his name? Isaac. That's what y'all talk to any person from Islam. That's it. No. We the one who get the inheritance. Not Israel, because Ishmael were born before Isaac. So how would Isaac get the firstborn status? And they teach that. And they serious about that. And you know who's all up in the mosques? Hebrews. Filling up the mosques, boy. I actually don't know. Me personally, I don't know no person from Islam from the other nation. All I know is our people. I had homeboys that get locked up and they come back and they Islam. Judaism. All right, yeah, I'm from Russia, but now we're the children of Judah. Yeah. I know we're born and raised in Poland, but I tell you what, we are the children of Judah. For real. But my point is, the thing that unites them all is that none of them are joined with the Most High in Torah and in truth. None of them. That's how you can tell them, the truth from what's not true. But the fruit of the Ruach is love, joy. Oh, snap. Y'all know when you look at the fruit of the Ruach, it's all surrounded around being content. Y'all ever thought about that? The fruits of the Spirit, it's all surrounds around being content. Love, joy. Y'all know true joy. You not really true joy? You ain't getting that without the Most High. All you gonna get is temporary joy that's gonna go away. It's fleeting. But true inner joy, inner peace, you ain't getting that without Yahuwah. Shalom. Long suffering, that means endurance. If you look up that word, that literally it means to endurance. That's about being contentment, being able to endure. When the scriptures talk about he who endures to the end shall be saved. The reason why I submit the Most High put that out there a lot is he who endures to the end that shall be saved is because he puts through his Ruach in his people who he saved endurance. They're going to be able to endure. Anybody who's of Yahuwah, they're going to be able to endure. He put it in them through the Ruach HaKodesh. Kindness, thubness, faithfulness, man, emunah, gentleness, self-control. What is self-control? Being able to rule over your flesh. That is a fruit of the Ruach HaKodesh. If you desire to want to fornicate, but you decide not to, because you rule over your flesh, that is from the Ruach HaKodesh. You have a female that you believe is super pretty and super attractive to you, but you know she's full of harlotry and fornication and drunkenness and wickedness. And she walks up on you and she jumps all over you and trying to see what's happening. And you want to, your flesh wants to, but you're like, nah, I ain't finna do that. I ain't finna do that. That's a Ruach of self-control. That's from the Ruach. Because if you don't have Yahuwah, you are not going to possibly be able to do that. It won't happen. But when you are of Yahuwah, you're going to do it. And if you choose not to, there's going to be consequences. I'll just put it that way. And the reason why is because you had the power to do it. Yahuwah gave it to you. You had the ability to do it. He ain't going to put nothing before you can't handle. You ever block somebody you was attracted to? Oh, that's power in that, man. Woo, that power in that. Quit calling me for to block you. There's power in that, for real. Against such there is no Torah. And those who are Mashiachs have crucified the flesh. That means died to self. So that's what dying to self means, is you crucifying the flesh. Letting your Ruach rule. With its passions and desires. People look at that as bondage by not doing what your flesh desires. I'm trying to show y'all that that's actually freedom. When you are not captive to the desires of your flesh, you are freer than ever. I'm telling you. You ever seen a dope fiend on the streets? That's someone who is given over by the desires of the flesh. Y'all ever seen a drug addict on the streets? That's someone who didn't have self-control and are given over by the desires of their flesh. Y'all seen a drunk, an alcoholic? Some of y'all family members, that's what they was. Some of y'all even fathers. Be out there on the corner, always drunk, always. A lot of time, unfortunately, they don't live that long. Because there's only so much that your liver can handle. Because they drunk always. Always. Yeah, we did too. Man, Beaumont, man, y'all similar than Austin, man. We used to call it that too. Oh, y'all did? Oh, okay, maybe that's everywhere then. Yeah, we did call them that, for real. Because we'll be out there hustling, and sometimes you'll get the wino mixed up for the crackhead. You're like, oh, nah, nah, man, that wino right there, man. He ain't, nah. Yeah. Because they be out there with the crackhead. They be out there at the store, outside right there, at the corner store. When you walk up, hey, look, hey, brother, what you been doing? What you do, man? Look, what you been, man? I don't know what he said. I just keep walking. And you know what I mean? You get a mistake. You thought you crackhead. Nah. No, you're drunk. I remember I was in New Orleans with her, man. We first met, man. I went to New Orleans with her to meet her family, man. We had just met. We was new. We might have been about 4 months in. And I went to New Orleans to meet her family, man. That's how we had got tight quick. But yeah, I didn't know what I was getting into though. I didn't know what I was getting. So by where so her grandma was still out there. And so we went to visit her. And so what we did, we basically was chilling there with grandma and them for most of the time. We were there for a week, and we had got a hotel right by grandma's house, so we could still sleep where we in our own bed. But we basically were chilling with grandma and them a lot of the time. But there was this corner store by grandma's house, man. Oh man. So y'all ever be like in certain areas? You get to the corner store, you ain't trying to walk in there because you're going to have to walk by about 20 people, man. You ain't familiar with the area, you know what I'm saying? They out there chilling. I'm like, man, all these dudes posted up out here, man. So I'm like, all right, we walking up in there, we walking up through there. And as soon as you walk up, hey, what's going on? Hey, what's going on there, man? Hey, what the hell? Hey, what's going on, man? What's going Then I walk back out. One of them do, hey man, you from Texas, ain't you? You ain't from out here. You from Texas. I like, man, how you know that? Yeah. Yeah, man, I got some cousins out there, man. Yeah, I started looking at him, man. I'm like, man, how he know that? I'm like, man, everybody know I ain't from out here. I'm like, man. Taken over by the flesh. Be literally. Man, at that store, they lived out there all day. Just drunk and high. Some of them high, some of them drunk. You know, it's a mixture. Some of them old, but some of them not that old. Some be about in their 30s and 40s. I like, man, that reminded me of Austin in the 90s. Austin don't got that no more. He don't got no corner stores like that no more. Not that I know of. But in the 90s, oh yeah. They shut that down in Austin, boy. All right, but this is the last part. We about to wrap it up. Blended families in the hundredfold. Blended families in the hundredfold. So blended families, there's multiple ways to look at what a blended family is, but the general way to basically explain a blended family is when you have one family and you have another family and somehow they become one family. So me and Amet, we're a blended family. It was me and my 3 sons. And I met Amet and she had her son. And because we got married, we blended together into one big family. Then we had 2 more children together. 2 more children together. 3. 3 more children together. You're right. A big blended family. A blended family. And so we were separate and got together, and now we became one big family. So that's what happened with Moshe. So he came from Mitzrayim, him, Aharon, and them, you know. He came from the children of Israel, the Hebrews. But due to some circumstances, he got rejected by who he thought was his father, which was Pharaoh, you know, probably his grandpa, you know, whatever. He got rejected by his mama too. I bet you his mama rejected him too, who he thought was his mama, Pharaoh's daughter. Oh yeah, when he killed that Egyptian, oh yeah, I bet his mama was like, oh yeah, no. No, go on and kill him, Pharaoh. Yeah, no, that's uncalled for right there. And then he went into Midian, and Jethro took him in, and they became one family. Then he ended up having he ended up marrying his daughter, and they ended up having children. Now, those 2 houses become one house. You see what I'm saying? It was so much so that Jethro actually could have went through the Exodus with him. Like Moshe was like, man, come on with me. Jethro, he just decided, oh, nah, you got him. I'm through. I'm gonna chill. I'm gonna stay right here. But they were so blended. Yahuwah would have let Yithro go with him. Moshe was like, yeah, come on, man, come with us, man. He like Yithro, man. Look here, man. I'm leading these whole people. Like we through. Like Yahuwah is with us. That's what Moshe was telling Yithro. I think it's in the next Torah portion, or maybe some Torah portions down the road. But that's how after the Exodus, Moshe gets back with Yithro. For Moshe to get back with Yithro, that's how you knew they was family. After all them plagues and all the and then man, Moshe was like, man, Yithro, come on with me, man. Yahuwah's with us. And Yithro was like, nah, you got it. I'm gonna just stay here. Why am I bringing that up? Because that's us. That's us. We are a blended family. We are a blended family. And let me tell you something. With blended families, it's a challenge. It's not easy. When me and Amet first got together, we coming from 2 different backgrounds. We raised our children 2 totally different ways. And now we're blending together as one family. And so now we're bumping heads a lot in the beginning because it was just stuff like, you know, that I thought we should do, I should do to, for example, maybe Zamar. And she's like, oh, no, we don't do that. It was food that I ate. I'm from Texas. I was bringing enchiladas and stuff. I would go and get, I wasn't making no enchilada. I would go and get the stuff that you put in the oven that's already made, Stouffer's. The Stouffer's enchiladas. I would go and bring the oven bank lasagna that you just put in the oven for 20 minutes and it come out. And you through. And I was doing stuff like that, and she was like, "Oh yeah, no, we don't eat that." What? Yeah, no, we don't eat stuff like that. She eats it now, you know what I'm saying? She done got Texanized a little bit. But back then, like enchiladas, different things like that, like some of the Zamar, he wouldn't touch stuff like that. And I didn't think it was fair because I ate all the New Orleans stuff. But y'all ain't gonna eat none of y'all gonna hate on some of the Texas stuff. Tex-Mex. And so, and I told y'all this many a time, but New Orleans is literally like a different country. Like they literally have their own culture and certain things that I had no idea on. And so there's things I thought was a given. Oh yeah, that's and it just wasn't a given to her. And so we bump heads on this when it comes to the Yellow Deep, you know. On top of that, she was used to doing things on her own. She was used to being strong in a certain way because it's just her and, you know, trying to make her own way and raise Jaden at the time. Zamar. It was Jaden. So we married, we first getting together, and Jaden, he's coming and jumping into bed with us. So with my sons, I never did that. I never did that. Even when they was young, it was easy for me. They'll cry and everything. I ain't care about none of that. Yeah, you sleeping in your room, right? You sleeping in that bed. And so me and the man, we having pillow talk and all that. And Jaden coming, I'm scared. It's dark. It's dark. I'm like, man, I don't care about that, man. Go on, man. Because that's how I was with my boy. And I met that was so just wrong at the time. He said he's scared though. Man, I don't care about that. He got to get over that. No, I don't care about that. He need to overcome his fears. Because I'm trying to have one-on-one time so we can talk. You know, we can talk, you know, and have discussions. And so, but the way now that I look back, I was insensitive in certain areas on that because I would go hard. And I just thought she was so out of bounds for wanting him to lay in the bed, but not thinking, oh man, that's what he probably been doing for years. And now I come in and, you know what I'm saying? I wasn't thinking none of that at the time. You know, it goes back to being able to, you know, have a more empathy and be able to see the other side better. And, you know, you learn that when you get older. At the time, though, oh, nah, man. And so, but over time, we started learning how to work together and blend together as a full family. We started seeing, I'm like, okay, you know what? You way better in this area than I am. Like, you were right in this area. And then there's some areas where she'd be like, okay, you know what? We need to move the way that you move. And then we blend together, and it becomes more powerful than it ever was beforehand. You know what I'm saying? So now, Zamar, that's my son. You know what I'm saying? Like, there ain't nobody that can tell me anything different than none of that, and I never looked at anything any other way. And he's my son just as much as all my other sons. That's the hundredfold, y'all. So now Zamar, who at first didn't have that, now he has me. He's like, But he'll appreciate that when he get older, though. You know what I'm saying? Be a father to the fatherless. That's the hundredfold, man. Mother to the motherless. The sisters you never had, the brothers you never had. You got family members rejecting you because you woke up, and it's because the Most High had set apart hundredfold for you. It's going to be a lot better, and it's going to actually train you up in what he has for you in your journey. That's why Moshe had to be with Yithro. That's what prepared him for the journey. Yahuwah had Moshe destined to lead millions of people. He wasn't going to learn that under no Pharaoh how to do that. Nah, man, you got to be a shepherd like David. You got to be a shepherd. You got to learn how to gather the flocks. Can y'all imagine being a shepherd for 40 years, what you learn? You got wolves and coyotes. You got disease and pestilence. You making sure you're keeping the oil on the sheep so that the ticks don't torment them to death. You keeping the flocks. Yithro is a priest. He's offering up sacrifices to the Most High. He's doing all this. That's what a priest does. So Moshe is there he's going with Yithro during the sacrifices. He's seeing things. He's learning things in some of the ways of the Most High. He's also learning how to be content. Listen, y'all, the hundredfold family might not be what you was looking for. Your hundredfold Arb, your hundredfold Ema. I know. I talked to some of my daughters. And I know some of y'all, I ain't what y'all thought as far as an Arb. But I'm who Yahuwah set up. So you're going to have to deal with me. You're going to have to be all right. You're going to have to be all right with it because it may be something that you need to learn. And it's interesting, like, I think about all my daughters, man, they are all very similar to Ahmed. Crazy. They all have a lot of similarities to Ahmed. Crazy. I mean, crazy in a thug way. So Ahmed be able to really minister to the daughters in a thug way because a lot of the stuff they deal with. She was the same way. A lot of stuff they went through. She wouldn't, oh yeah, I know, yeah, no, I know, I don't do that, woo, and they be like, oh yeah, okay. They be surprised. Same thing with the sons. A lot of things the sons experience. Yeah, I know. We done. Very familiar. So just embrace it. Because this is why Yahuwah brought us all together. We mishpaka. Not family. Remember, we mishpaka. There's a difference. But we got to learn how to work with each other. We got to learn how to move with each other because things that you thought was a given, but the way you grew up may not be the same with your hundredfold Ak or Cody. They may have grew up different. They may have came from somewhere different. They may have been raised up different. I remember there was people in the tribe at one point in time who they just couldn't understand because, man, I grew up and we always had these values, but everybody didn't grow up the way you did. I grew up and I came up in the country and we always said, yes, ma'am, and and that's rude. But everybody ain't do that. They grow up like that. Yeah. So one thing you can't do, this is something I believe Hagabira brought up one time. You can't come in a hundredfold bringing up whatever values that you and your mama raised you and this and that and all that. I think that's going to trump the way that's just the way that Yahuwah set up for this family, for this house. And this Yahuwah's house. Y'all know how the Abba of the house be like, nah, this my house. And in this house, we finna do it this way. How do Ab be taught? How do the father of the house, the head of the house be taught? In this house, we're going to do it this way. And if you ain't about doing it this way, you can go your way on out there. And that's how Yahuwah is. That's why he said, those who practice these things are not going to be in my kingdom. You go out there in that other kingdom if you want to. You ain't going to be in my kingdom if you practicing these things. You know what I'm saying? But embrace your hundredfold family. Men, when you're dealing with the Yelladim, look at them as if they are your Yelladim. What does that mean? That means if you wouldn't say this to your son, don't say that to one of the other sons. Generally speaking, I know I'm not talking about, I'm talking about young sons. Akio. If you wouldn't go off and say certain things to your child, you shouldn't do that to someone else's child. What that says is that subconsciously you're not looking at them as one of your children. Subconsciously it's not there yet. You're looking at them as just a random child. And not as sons and daughters of the covenant. You see, just like a blended family, just like me and Ahmed, our families joined together because we came in a covenant with each other. All of our families have now blended together because we have done what? We have came under covenant together through Yahuwah and Yahusha. We came under the same Ab together, Ab Yahusha, in covenant with him together. So if we all have the same Ab, that makes us a mishpachah. That's easy, right? Simple stuff. All right. So let's look at these scriptures just to wrap it up. This is Psalm 68, verse 5. Psalm 68, verse 5. It says, a father of the fatherless, a defender of widows is who? Alua in his Kodesh habitation. This is a Kodesh habitation of Alua right here. Alua says the solitary where? What happened? You were solitary at first. You came into the truth. Yahuwah woke you up, and then your family started rejecting you. And so then you start feeling alone. You trying to walk this thing out by still juggling your family. You still trying to walk this thing out by still juggling your biological people, and they literally rejecting you because of your devotion to the Most High. And so then what did the Most High do? He put you in one of his assemblies. Why do you think he put you in one of his assemblies? Just so you can have fun and have fellowship? He's joining you with his family because that's your family now. Now, you will have fun and have fellowship, but that's not the only reason why he put you there. That's your family now. That's why. That's your family. Mishpachah, I should say. Alua says the solitary in families. He brings out those who are bound into what? But the rebellious? Oh, no. They dwell in a dry land. And land ain't even there, so they dwell in dry places. It's just like what we do with Ruach. We tell them to go to dry places, like an unclean Ruach. Galatians chapter 4, verse 4 says, but when the fullness of the time had come, Alua sent forth his son, born of a woman, born under the Torah. To do what? To redeem those who were under the Torah. What does that mean? He was to redeem those who was under the curses of Deuteronomy 28, man. He was to redeem those who were under the curses of the Torah. He was coming to redeem those who were dealing with the consequences of breaking the Torah. That's what that means. That we might receive the adoption as sons. There ain't nobody that knows a blended family life more than someone who's been adopted or who has adopted. because when you adopt a child, when there's children that are adopted, they're coming from another family into another family, and now they blend together to be one family. And then their parents raise them up as if they raise them up and become fathers to them. Romans chapter 8, therefore, brethren, we are debtors, not to the flesh, to live according to the flesh. For if you live according to the flesh, you will die. But if by the Ruach you put to death the deeds of the body or the flesh, you will live. So, but if by the Ruach you put to death the deeds of the body, you will live, basically. For as many as are led by the Ruach of Eluah, these are the sons of Eluah. Basically, if you know how to deal with contentment, you're a son. Remember I told y'all from the beginning it's all about sons? This whole thing about sons, man. This walk. It's all about sons. For as many as are led by the Ruach HaKodesh of Eluah, these are the sons of Eluah. So remember what the fruits of the Spirit was. It's about contentment, love, joy, peace, long-suffering, endurance. That's how you know if you're a son. But if you're moving in the ways of the flesh, adultery, fornication, uncleanness, those things, that's how you know that you're not a son. Because those who deal with those things don't even inherit the kingdom. You're not a son. 15. For if you did not receive the Ruach of bondage again to fear, but you received the Ruach of adoption, by whom we cry out, Abba, Father. So Malek Yehusha talked about that a lot. It's Abba Pater. It's basically Abba, my ancestor. Because now the Most High is your Abba. See, when you receive the spirit of adoption, which is, the Ruach HaKodesh, now you are adopted and you have been taken to be a son of Eluah. And now you can now your father is the Most High. Your father is Yahusha. All right, hallelujah. All praise to the Most High. But yeah, one thing I didn't mention real quick is just you did see a lot of examples of blended families in the scriptures. You saw that with Abraham. Started off Abraham. What happened? Abraham had Hagar. Hagar was an Egyptian. Sarah told Abraham to go ahead and go into her to have a child. Now you got a blended family now. Because Ishmael is born, but that ain't Sarah's biological, but it is Abraham's. And then they have another child through Sarai after that. So now you have a blended family, and now you see issues happening. Because then you see Hagar, Ishmael getting into it with Isaac. And Sarai casted her out quick. That wasn't easy for Abraham because that was somebody who Abraham was in covenant with. But he heeded the word of the Most High and of his Esau. You saw that with Yaakov. Why was there such an issue with Joseph and his brothers? It was a blended family, that's why. Why did Joseph's brothers hate him so much? Joseph's brother Benjamin didn't hate him like that because they had the same mama. It's a blended family. No, it was the children with different mamas than him who hated Joseph. That was the root of the Yosef issue. Blended family issues. So that's why we can't be like that. We got to treat each other as if we are children. We got to treat each other the same, the best of our ability, no matter who's fathers or sons and things like that, because we all mishpachah. We saw that with Simeon and Levi. Why was it Simeon and Levi who went and killed all those people in Shechem? Why didn't none of the other brothers get involved with that? That was a sister from the same mother. You feel what I'm saying? You saw that with Absalom. Remember when Absalom, he had killed his brother because he had came on to Absalom's sister, but they off brothers. But Absalom's sister was from the same mama. Blended families. That's just showing the negatives and the issues that can happen surrounded blended families. You know what I'm saying? But it was all throughout the scriptures. That's the ways of Israel. That's the ways of Yasharel. We were talking about the Levirate marriage and all those things surrounding that. When you read the book of Ruth and examples like that. So just keep all those things in mind as we move forward, because it's about us being in that car like never before. And one of the big parts of that is we gotta understand that we mishpachah, we the hundredfold family. There's another thing about the hundredfold family. Sometimes you have other parents. You got the non-custodial parents. So my boys, they still got a mom. And she still, is in the picture and all that. And we got to know how to use wisdom with that relationship. Wisdom. It's the same thing with some of y'all. Some of y'all got spouses not in the truth. We mishpachah. I look at your children as my children, but they might have other parents not in this truth at all who could care nothing at all about what you care about their child. And you gotta use wisdom when it comes to that type of stuff.
So we go to the Q&A. We starting at 7:25. Where you going? Questions and answers. One of my students in middle school, this is Bethel. One of my students in the middle school was from Nepal, and she didn't eat beef. In Nepal, they believe cows are a goddess of wealth and prosperity. Where y'all going?
Wow.
She said she would come with rice grain stuck on her forehead. Yeah, it's for the third eye representation. Yeah. Amma said, so she called his name Moses, saying, because I drew him out of the waters. I submit that this is showing that she took him.
Wait, go back to the first one again.
Want me to read again?
Yeah.
One of my students in middle school was from Nepal, and she didn't eat beef. In Nepal, they believe cows are a goddess of wealth and prosperity. One of my students in middle school was from Nepal, and she didn't eat beef. In Nepal, they believe cows are a goddess of wealth and prosperity. She would come with rice grains stuck on her forehead.
Wow. On the forehead, too. Man. See, that's interesting because so now you're thinking about the people who eat beef on the regular and be killing cows. That's an abomination. It was interesting. All right, we go ahead.
So Amma said, so she called his name Musha, saying, because I drew him out of the water. I submit that this is showing that she took him out of war. She found him among the reeds. Sade is a picture of a man on his side or a papyrus reed. Dang. Sade is related to war. Musha's mom dedicated her son to Yahuwah when she placed him in the ark. The ark protected him from the war on the Hebrew babies. Then Yahuwah gave her son back to her with a double portion. Not only was she able to spend time, with him and feed her child, but she got paid to do so. The possessions of the Mitzrites were given to her for her obedience. Hallelujah. I was thinking about that. Like, she got paid to be a mama at that point.
That was stupid. That was stupid.
Yeah. Sade is a picture of a man on the side of a papyrus reed.
Also, y'all know that we talked about this a while, but Moshe, that's the same as, so the book of, this is called the book of Shemot, which comes from Shem, Sheen Mem. Y'all know that Moshe, that's Musha, that's Mem Sheen. Mem Sheen Hey is how you spell Moshe. And when you think about Moshe, Mem Sheen Hey, it's about pulling something out of waters, the Sheen, and then the Mem is the waters by the wind. But it's about pulling out of waters. It's about drawing out of water. So even in his name, you see that same connotation about being drawn or pulled out of the waters.
Hadassah said, I've heard the word Akta as a reference to black Americans from Nigerians. Back in college, one of my friends was Nigerian. She dated a black American, and eventually they got married. I didn't understand at first why she got so much flack for it until I realized they saw us as different. Her parents almost didn't attend the wedding. They eventually ended up accepting him, but that was an eye-opener for me. Yeah.
Oh, man. No, that's huge. That's Hadassah who said that? Yeah, I think that's the word I was looking for. Akata. I got to look it up because I think that means something like European or something like that. But it's like a derogatory name, though, word. It's not like a nice word. And so, yeah, you'll notice that Nigerians, if they have a daughter, now Nigerians, if they have a son, they'll marry an American black woman. But if a Nigerian, they have a daughter, oh, no, they're not going to let their daughter marry no black dude, not a black American dude. I mean, that don't happen. Like, they'll marry other nations, though. They'll do that. Like, they'll marry some European, you know, their parents usually okay with that. But black Americans are so demonized to the Nigerians. And it's just because of a long history of just, number one, media portrays us so bad. And so that's all they see is us as drug dealers and stuff like that, you know, because of the movies. They come down here and already have this idea. But not only that, I got to confirm this, but it was a source that was saying that even when people are looking to move here from Nigeria, to migrate here, they're actually told to stay away from the black Americans. Yeah. So they're told to stay away, that we're bad people, basically. So you got that, and then you mix it with the media. And then when you come down here, some of us are pretty bad, you know what I'm saying? Then you got a whole blanket thing that just demonizes the whole people. I remember when I was in Pre-V, man, I had a Nigerian teacher, young Nigerian teacher. He hated me. He was one of my worst teachers. I just did not like him because he was always on my behind. But he was honest. I just think you guys are just lazy. Black people are just lazy. You have all these opportunities here. Back in my place, in my land, this and that. And if we had the same, his thoughts was just, man, if you had the same opportunities as us, they would be so through. You guys were born in America here in this great land, and you just squandering away these great opportunities. I'm like, man, Toda. Like, y'all have no idea. Like, y'all think we just stoop over here. Yeah, y'all can come down here and it's going to be a lot easier for y'all because y'all don't have the same, stuff as far as the captivity and stuff like that. But they don't see that part of it. Like, man, I remember, like a lot of the Africans aren't even taught about our history. Like, they don't know about the harshness of, a lot of them don't know about the harshness of the slave trade and what we went through here. They don't. We be assuming everybody know about that because we seen Roots. We went to public school out here and learned about slavery, but they cutting that out though. They trying to end that. But you don't realize that an African who didn't grow up and go to public school here, who didn't learn about slavery in America, they gonna come here and they don't have no idea. And so that caused a lot of issues. But anyway, that's interesting.
Yeah, I remember. I think either Uriah or Bethel brought out about how the island saw us as well. Yeah, it's very similar, very, very similar.
Yeah, the islands is very similar because we looked at island people. So we got island people here. I'm gonna be honest with y'all. So we looked at island people as a total opposite. They work all the time. No, island people, man, they be having like 8 jobs, dog. Doggone, man. They be having, man. They be working at the gas station, and then you go to the cleaners. That same dude there. How did he do that? Jamaicans, primarily Jamaicans. Be having like 12 jobs, man. So while y'all was looking at us as lazy, we was looking at y'all. Y'all work too much. Oh, man.
So Benny Yahoo put Proverbs 30, 15 to 16. The leech has 2 daughters, give and give. There are 3 things that are never satisfied, 4 never say enough. The grave, the barren womb, the earth that is not satisfied with water, and the fire never says enough.
Man.
Hezekiah said they had Moshe out there eating camel humps in Egypt.
Ah, man. I ain't never heard of that one.
Yeah, he weird. He my Oreo. Oh, go ahead. He teaches us how to be content by the things we go through. We have been with and without, dealing with this for many years. We've always endured. That's real.
That's real. That's real.
Yeah. Proverbs 28, 1 Timothy 6 through 7. Now, throughliness is contentment is great gain. For we brought nothing into this world, and it is certain we can carry nothing out. And he put Proverbs 28:6. Better is the poor who walks in his integrity than one perverse in his ways, though he be rich.
Come.
Bethel put coming to America, Prince Hakeem. What do you like? Potential bride, whatever you like. She was still barking and stuff in the second one too. That's pretty funny.
Yeah, I know a lot of the I came with watching that movie, man. He was tripping leaving up, man. He was tripping. Bark like a dog. Woo! 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 He had walked away. She kept doing it. She ain't never stopped because you ain't telling her to stop, so she kept going. Akeem was like, man, he tripping leaving her, man. What you
For
doing?
real, yeah.
Yeah, he didn't want that.
And he saw why when he went to that club. So there's a Greek word here that I'ma put phil
That Greek
argyria.
is hard to deal with.
Love of money and avarice. She said avarice, extreme greed for wealth or material gain. Man, so that's what that word there mean. I ain't never heard them words before.
Yeah.
And then she put another Greek word in here. Akatharsia. Oh, there's a pronunciation down there. Akatharsia. Akarthasia. I said it right. Uncleanliness, physical, in a moral sense, the impurity of lustful, luxurious, profligate living.
Yeah, y'all know this also goes back to the covenant about Deuteronomy 23, how he walks in the midst of the camp to deliver thee and to give over thine enemies over thee. Therefore, that camp shall be Kodesh, that there be no what?
Unclean thing
in thee. I think I said that. I don't know if I said it right. You may turn away from thee or something like that. But if you read before that, it's talking about boo-boo. In Deuteronomy 23, it's talking about refuse. The Most High say he don't want to deal with that. That stuff is nasty to him. That's why it's nasty to you. The reason why when you smell refuse, you're like, oh, that stank. The Most High wired us like that because it stank to him. You see what I'm saying? And so, yeah, no, uncleanness, no, you ain't making it. You ain't making it. And again, that's, definitely ruwakal uncleanness. But I submit the physical uncleanness is an aspect to that. You want to be physically clean too.
Your snaps are so loud. They sound like thunder. So my manager at work, he's Hindu, and he bathes once a week normally. That's normal, he said, for them. But they had a fast. They had like a 2-3 week fast where he was forced to bathe 2 times a week, and he was very distraught. He was very disappointed. I mean, he was very vocal about it. He was saying how it's so hard right now because he has to bathe twice a week, and then he has work and things like that. He only eats once a day, and he has to bathe twice a week now, so it's very hard for him right now. And he was just trying to explain why his mood in our meeting was going to be slightly down. So, because he had to bathe twice a week.
You got running water? You got a bathtub? You there even twice a week, Doc? That's tough right there. You walk around stank.
Oh, okay. So that word akarthasia is also about impure motives. Yeah, impure motives as well. Oh, that's the word uncleanliness there in the Greek.
Yeah, because that goes back to refuse in the camp. That goes back to refuse in the camp. Impure motives, unrepentant sins, things like that. Refuse, uncleanness.
Hezekiah and Azrael doing the questions? Nothing else? Yeah, so I thought. Okay. So Imai Yashayahu, doctors way back in the day used to pass on disease and sickness from patient to patient before they figured out they needed to wash after each patient. That's wild. That's wild. Doctors used to pass on disease from and sickness from patient to patient before they figured out they need to wash after each patient. That's same with babies. That's crazy. That's total.
So we'll read in the Torah portion soon, when the Most High caused water to flow out the rock, we assume and just think about, Yahuwah caused water to flow out the rock so that they can drink water to quench their thirst. I submit it was way more to it than that. It was also so that they can be clean before him. Because it was after that, once the water flowed out the rock, it was after that when he gave all those Torahs about when you're unclean, you need to wash with water. When this happens, you need to wash. When this happens, you need to wash. How was they able to wash all them times, man? It was that water he had coming out that rock. Yeah.
Yeah, say that rock followed them around the entire time. That's one of them small miracles that's overlooked because you see it in Corinthians, maybe. Hezekiah, I was at work in the clearance aisle last week, and this Indian family walked by, and it was terrible. Me and my coworkers left and came back a whole 5 minutes later, and the smell was still there. Yeah, it didn't change.
But y'all be trying to have an eye for these other nations, man.
Man,
Y'all young
yeah.
folk.
That's such a big deal. That's such a big deal. It's bad. It's bad. Yeah, I know. It slapped you in your face. I understand. You know, growing up, that was like, I know like Islam has some practices like that, and that was always a fear of mine that somebody. I ain't gonna go into that. Never mind. All right. Let's see. Ima Yashiyahu, your flesh don't care about your ruach. Not at all. Not at all. Hadassah said we have a song for the fruit of the ruach. That's Ibria, I guess. Or the yellow dean.
Yeah, so when the big three were little, we had come up with this song for the fruit of the Ruach to help them remember. And it goes, but the fruit of the Spirit is love, but the fruit of the Spirit is joy, but the fruit of the Spirit is peace and patience, kindness, goodness, faithfulness, gentleness, and self-control. But the fruit of the Spirit is love, but the fruit of the Spirit is joy, but the fruit of the Spirit is peace and patience, kindness, goodness, faithfulness, gentleness, and self-control. So I remember it to this day.
Don't we have that as a scripture for the ark? No? Okay, let's add that in there. Let's add that in there. I don't want the song version. Azrael, y'all used to have, didn't y'all have that as a scripture for jungle? Didn't we have that as a scripture for jungle? All right. Okay. We had that one. Man, I could have sworn we had Galatians 5:22. Okay. Yeah. All right. Well, let's be forced to memorize that. All right. Ima Yashiyahu. Speaking of revelries or parties, Mushal had mentioned the church. This reminded me of this. Back in the day. All right. My sisters and I went to a party with my aunt. It was her pastor's B-Day party, First Baptist Church. I couldn't believe how they were going in like it was a club. That was back when Kirk Franklin made Stomp. Oh, snap. Yeah, that had the TLC lady in there. They were partying hard. I couldn't believe it. Yeah, the TLC lady. I remember. It's one of them.
Left Eye?
Was it Left Eye in that song?
Oh, and Stomp?
Yeah, and Stomp. Yeah.
T-Bone?
I don't remember. It had one of them in there. Yeah, man. I know a lot of people was upset with Kirk Franklin over that. Because he was shifting things with that. Praise Yahuwah. The fall is near. Habakkuk 3:17-19 about contentment. Though the fig tree may not blossom, nor fruit be on the vines, though the labor of the olive may fail, and the fields yield no food, though the flock may be cut off from the fold, and there be no herd in the stalls, yet I will rejoice in Yahuwah. I will joy in the Lua of my salvation. Yahuwah is my strength. He will make my feet like deer's feet, and he will make me walk on my high heels. Hallelujah. We are to practice the fruit of the Ruach daily. Message. Nah, that's a Martin thing, man. Y'all just don't know. Message.
That's how you say it.
Yeah, that's how you say it.
That's like sausage.
Bethel, there is a corner store back home where the men be sitting down outside all day on crates. How, Sway? You ain't got no job? No? Okay, I'm going to go this way. Man. Zakan Ubal, once I lived the life of a millionaire, drinking that good champagne, wine, and gin. Oh, I just didn't care. But as soon as my money got low, I couldn't find a friend and had nowhere to go. How much better is it to get wisdom than gold? Better is a little with the righteous. Truth be told, the moral of the story is money gives you a false sense of security, and you can't find true friends. Be content with what you got. Hallelujah. Amma said, if we are not sons and daughters of Yahusha, we will never be content. A son or daughter is yoked to their parent. Man, praise Yahusha. Amma put the scriptures in the chat from today. Yahya said, so now that we are one big family, hundredfold, so one... What'd I say? What'd I say? Oh, okay.
I'm down to do some kid swapping. I'm down.
Can we do some kid swapping for a week? Man, with y'all, absolutely. Absolutely.
I'm seeing Zamar and them all over the Bayi Manu house. Zara Yahoo, Zamar, Yama Yahoo, Anthony, Hananiah. Y'all going to Bayi Manu house.
Man, we need to have we gotta have like a draft or something. Yeah. Like I'll give you 4 firstborns for Kaya.
Oh yeah, I'll take Kaya and Amuda. Yeah, we'll take them. And Hezekiah. We'll do a switch up.
Oh, for parents to have date night. Yeah, that would be a great idea. That'd be a great idea.
Yeah.
Yes. Ima Angie, she put the picture of the original Statue of Liberty versus the copy. I don't know, man. Ima, that one just don't sit right in my ruach.
Okay, all I know is when I was with friends, that's the first time I heard about it. When I was at tour, they said we sent this to the U.S. back in the 1800s, and they rejected it.
And it was the picture of the first one?
It was a black woman. It was a black woman.
Well, the statue in France, the copy was the copy of the first one or the second one? Oh, so that's in France today. Wow. Yeah. Wow. What is the history behind that, though, I wonder? Oh, let me see. Another argument is that the Statue of Liberty may have been originally built to celebrate the liberation of slaves, and the prototype is still black. Newman, an African-American researcher at Harvard University in the United States, said, the Statue of Liberty is 100% about slavery and has nothing to do with immigration. Freedom refers to the freedom of slaves. The French historian of the Statue of Liberty wanted to use the statue, and then it stops. I just don't understand why they would have made a black woman statue. But freedom of slavery, that was, I guess, but I feel, when did the Statue of Liberty get, quote unquote, built? I thought that was pre-slavery. I mean, no? Much more recent? Oh, 1700s? Okay. 1800s? Yeah. Nah, I ain't saying you're right. I ain't saying I don't believe you. I'm just saying that one just never, I read that before. It just never set in my belly well.
Rebirth of a nation. Hebrew kingdom building.